This is a Headgum podcast.
You have your choice. Would you like the red chair or the red chair?
Okay.
Yeah?
I feel like you're the stuff wall.
Yeah, it's
No?
No.
Am I the stuff wall? So that you can see your book?
And be reminded of it.
And be reminded of
I'll sit wherever. I just allow
Here,
sure.
you have a beverage, and that table's closer.
Okay.
Let's do that. Let's do it that way.
Let's do it. All right, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me. This is
set
incredible
phone.
for me.
To buzz.
Okay. One more.
Oh, just take the box. Take the whole box.
Gonna
Might as well.
excrete the whole time.
Well, look, I'm getting over a cold that has been around, lingering for a long time. So you will not be the first to either sneeze or cough or blow your nose during this. Oops.
Do you put these on? Or
No.
do you not?
Go ahead.
Okay, good.
I mean, you can if you'd like.
No, I don't need
If
to.
it's a fashion
not,
thing.
It's a fashion thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
How long you been in Fort Greene? Or
let's see. We moved there at the start of my second season because we were living near Juilliard over in like Lincoln Square area, like 66th and Riverside.
Too many theater kids. It's annoying.
The kids, I mean, it looked like a cool place to be like in middle school, high school age. It's
Sure.
Like LaGuardia was over there, and there's like
School of
another
the Arts for those
magnet
who don't
school
know.
over there. And it seems like a decent area, but we were just the only couple under 75.
Yeah.
And everyone was a billionaire, and like, the 100% nothing against surrogacy in any way. I think life is beautiful, but
Right on, bro.
my wife and her friend were in a park, and her friend was pregnant. They're women in their 30s, and a woman said, "Who are you carrying for?" And I was like, "Oh, we're just not in the economic class to be in this neighborhood." That the immediate assumption is,
Wow.
a healthy young woman is
That's
holding
like
a baby for.
It's like a bad,
an investment banker.
unfunny, but kind of spot on New Yorker cartoon.
It is a New Yorker cartoon, right?
Wow.
And you don't want to be in one of those. Turns
No.
out you don't want to be in one of those.
Who are you caring for? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's like
What a weird.
weird. I don't think it's. I mean, it's not weird for that neighborhood. We were the weird people, right? It's kind of like when
Sure, for the neighborhood, but that neighborhood is weird for the rest of
but
humanity.
yes. Coming from
Globally, it's
coming
weird.
from Tennessee, that's like an incredibly weird.
You from
statement to
Tennessee?
think. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, right on.
And you're from Georgia, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I was
That rocks.
just in Nashville, and I don't know, a couple months ago probably, but I've been going to Nashville off and on for decades, and I said, listen, as somebody who grew up in Atlanta, heed my words. There's a point where you get too big. Stop building. You're losing your soul. You're losing your character. I feel that way about Nashville. It's it's gotten too big, and it's lost something.
Oh, God.
I feel that way about Austin. I feel that way about Atlanta. It's just
Austin obliterated its weird.
Yeah,
like the whole
I mean-
keep Austin weird thing. That was a thing people were saying in the like late 90s, right? They were like worried about Austin losing its
I think that even before
Zazz.
that, but yeah. Oh,
but
Austin,
it's gone.
Yeah,
It
I
is
know.
fully gone.
Well, Nashville I think, has reached the tipping point. In
It's
my
not
opinion.
fun, but I will say that like it seems like everybody that's moving to Nashville is moving to Franklin, and so it's sort of like it's going to reach a point where sort of like LA, where like LA's constant.
You mean the spread?
I think so, where it's like people
I have
are.
friends who just moved to Franklin.
Oh, yeah?
fairly recently. Yeah,
I mean, that's like the Orange County of
Right.
Nashville.
Yes.
It's like nobody's actually moving to the cool part. Everybody is helping build this fortress city. It's like
and it's got those kind of mixed use things that I fucking hate, like the Gulch, and it's all these kind of
Gulch. Yeah.
like corporate chain,
Live and work
restaurant-y.
and play and
Yeah.
booze and electric
And
scooter.
Atlanta has a bunch of that,
Yeah.
and it's just, and Nashville is, now has a couple of those, and it's just like it's just weird. It's just like
Yeah.
It's sort of like Dumbo is here a little bit.
Yeah.
Like everything in there is air quote cool, but it's all a corporate thing, like Blue Bottle Coffee. On the surface, you're like, oh, cool, it's a chain with a bunch of things, and it's not that cool. And
It's not that cool, and
or
it's
unique or interesting, or
it's really expensive.
very expensive.
But you can get coffee in the style of probably what you could get for like 79 cents from somebody's aunt in New Orleans.
Right.
That's what they have Chipotle-fied
Right.
into an $11 coffee. I don't know. Yeah, the whole, it's all steel, stainless steel everywhere. That even to be at the point where like Chipotle used to look like its own restaurant, and now they've all contorted McDonald's. They've all contorted into the same like dark brown leather, stainless steel, like unwelcoming corporate lobby environment. Like the whole time you're waiting for an elevator.
You're expecting somebody to ask if they can help you with your luggage.
Yeah, exactly. Could I get? Yeah.
This is you're on a non-smoking floor. All right.
Okay. Cool. Oh man, yeah. You watching Severance, man? You watch that show?
Oh fuck yeah, I love it. Love it.
Incredibly relatable show when we're talking about these kinds of like spaces where it's like, how do we just remove all of the like human personality from any common space?
Are you? No, I'm not caught up. I think I've watched the first 3 episodes of season 2.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So what are there 4 now or 5? You might have just.
I don't fucking know. I can't keep. I can't follow the story, but I'm loving it.
Oh God, it's great. It's great.
I don't remember anything that happened, but I'm having a great time watching.
I went out of my way to, and there was something I was going to do, but that on paper was better, but I didn't do it so that I could go to the couple days early to a screening of the first episode of season 2.
Oh yeah, I went to one of those.
Were you at the one with?
I was there. Yeah. Did we miss each other there?
I guess so. It was a tiny room.
I was in a corner
down in Tribeca somewhere.
Down in Tribeca.
Yeah.
I was there with my wife because we were so psyched. I say yes anytime someone invites me to anything.
Oh,
I feel so flattered, and I try to go.
You shouldn't.
I know.
It.
I know.
You'll learn fairly quickly. Like, oh, this isn't.
I so desperately want to be cool that I say yes to.
Well, that doesn't make
absolutely
you cool.
Everything.
How does that make you cool?
that someone invited me.
But someone is like it's an email server that from a publicist.
I know,
firm.
but I'm in this.
Doesn't make you.
Well, I have a 3-year-old, and like,
oh wow,
just
the one,
just one 3-year-old, and
oh, so you want to get out of the house?
I want to get out of the house a little bit,
that's
and I'm also on Saturday Night Live, and that is
what?
So
you have no time.
I have no time other than the time I spend. All of my comedy time goes to the show.
Sure.
And then all of my rest of my time goes to sleeping and trying to put my personal imprint on my son in some way. And
3 is so it's about to get fun. You put in a lot of work, and
it's been pretty fun.
The fun is going to start. I mean,
my wife is putting in the lion's share of the work. I mean, she is like, I'm working and she's at home.
Yeah.
And so this is what we're doing right now, because we got pregnant like mere months before all this show business started happening in my life. So like,
were you in Tennessee at the time?
We were in LA for 10 years, but
what part of LA?
Mostly Highland Park.
I love Highland Park.
I love Highland Park.
Yeah, I like that.
We had such a great time in Highland Park, and Highland Park kind of felt like the.
Don't say it. Do not say it.
Felt like the fun part of living in Nashville in my 20s.
Okay.
Highland Park, I associated kind of with the cool part of Nashville,
right?
With like East Nashville.
I got you. Yeah.
You hang out in East Nashville when
I go to Dino's.
Dino's.
Fucking love Dino's.
And Dino's, that was one of those things that got like corporatized a little bit, but they kept it mostly the same. I feel like
I only know it as like in the last couple of years.
I mean, the food is amazing and all that stuff.
It's not just the food. It's like the whole vibe and energy is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The fact that you can go to this dive bar, that's a legit dive bar.
Yeah.
With kind of, everybody from the arts community or whatever.
Yeah.
And they just so happen to have a great cheeseburger grill.
They have a great, nasty grill.
Yeah.
Like where you can taste the grill on anything that you're eating. You can taste the
that's
the nastiness in a good way. Yeah. Anyway, so we lived mostly in Highland Park. I lived in East Hollywood for a couple years, like Vermont and Santa Monica. That was a beautiful journey. Got to know the girls on the street
a lot of mental illness.
Bit. Yeah, you always see some guy just fully bleeding.
Yeah.
I would always see some guy just in a dress and scrubs.
That's the East Hollywood promise.
And a sombrero, just sliced up.
Yeah.
Fresh from some sort of Indiana Jones-esque escape, from a rolling boulder.
Yeah.
And he's the mayor. David. Winchell's Donuts. When a Winchell's loses its franchise due to quality and becomes a Michelle's, where they have to just flip the W over, that's a beautiful thing.
It's smart. It's just
y'all couldn't stay a Winchell's.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed this, and I've been meaning to bring this up, but this building that we're in currently at this moment in time has an F rating.
I saw that coming in.
Yeah, you saw that big old F. And I don't think I've seen an F ever on something that wasn't boarded up or, had police tape across it. And I want to say the efficiency rating was a 28. Is that correct, Chris?
I've never noticed this.
It's on the fucking window when you walk in by the door. There's a big F.
It's an alarming. That's an alarming letter. F.
That's not what you want to see.
How poorly designed do you have to? I mean, you have windows. I've seen windows, so that's not it. There's a roof.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The plumbing isn't dripping or anything. What is it about that we can't experience that gives this building an F for failure?
I wonder if it's if there was one modernization that they did to this building that this building just gave up.
You know what it is? It's the microwave. Fucked everything up.
I think it could be, or all this fucking neon everywhere. There's Headgum signs everywhere. I mean, cool.
It's Headgum,
with
isn't
the branding.
It's this office. It's the Headgum
these
studios.
people. It's these people. It's like if you try to teach, trying to teach a grandparent how to send an email. It's just going to you don't want to kill them,
right?
You might kill them.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. I don't know. What was I saying earlier? I think I was saying
East Hollywood guy bleeding.
Well, I was saying all
and
that
he's
just
the mayor.
to say.
It's about inflection.
Yeah, of course. This all happened really rapidly, and my wife was just sort of I think we were going to be equal parents in LA because I was going to go to 2 commercial auditions a week.
And what's your wife do? Or did?
She was in school to be a counselor. She's putting a pause in school just to be a mom, and she might return to the psych world at some point. She's not in the business, not an entertainer, not a writer,
but understands the lifestyle.
I think
I shouldn't say life. Understands the rigors, the demands of the.
I've just forced that upon her. I think she's just we were like each other's first relationship when we were 21 and then broke up for years and then got back together after growing up a little bit. And so I think
that's kind of sounds like it's potentially a sweet story.
It's a very sweet story. It is. Can you see my face?
Yep.
I can see your face better now.
Yeah, I moved my.
This is the first time
I just shaved while we were doing this. I shaved.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It doesn't look it.
Well,
you shaved this part.
Yes, I went bald. For
you looked like Gavin Newsom. You had the flowing.
I did, yeah.
I've never met you before. This is very exciting to meet you on this podcast.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because I can't tell you how many times, including a really embarrassing one, where I've said to somebody during the podcast, I mean, I'm talking at least 10 times, We're like, well, this is great. I'm excited to meet you. And they're like, oh, we actually met at blah, 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 whatever. Oh, really? Yeah, we talked for a little bit. I'm sorry. And then I had James Acaster on 45 minutes into the podcast, and I said something to the effect of like, it's cool to meet you, and da-da-da. He's like, oh, we've met before. And I was like, oh, okay, when? He's like, you did my podcast.
Brother.
Like, oh, I'm so... Then
God
I remembered
in heaven.
instantly when he was like, the two British guys came over and talked about food. I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that.
What if I told you right now that I am James Acaster doing an American accent and wearing silly glasses?
I'd say that's spot on, man. You nailed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that... He doesn't have a deep...
Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. He doesn't have a deep, sonorous voice, right?
No, he does not.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Oh, my God.
He did a really cool... He did a... I know it's I think it's on Netflix. I'm not sure. He did a special where... And he's not this kind of comic at all. But he did a special where he said it's okay to heckle. And he not necessarily encouraging it, but you can heckle... And I'm just going to address it. It's not like, what do you call it? Crowd work. It's not like these TikTok-y things. It's just literally he is trying to get through his set. And he said that's what would happen in the UK. He would tour and people, and have you been to the UK or don't stand up?
I did a little tour a couple summers ago where I got my first taste of performing in the UK.
Yeah, so
and I must have had just really sweet people because I didn't have to deal with a whole lot of...
But sometimes you don't. I would say with UK audiences, the highs are higher and the lows are lower. You know what I mean? Like if people don't like you, they really let you know.
Yeah.
And if people like you, they really let you know. So for the most part, 90%, I've had great experiences over there, but I've also had terrible ones. And
do you go regularly? Do you go fairly often?
when I tour, I'll be there in April. I was touring for a while, stopped down for a little bit, and then I'm doing this show on Broadway right now, and then I go to Canada. I do a bunch of dates in Canada, and then I have like a week off, and then I do Europe for a month.
That's gonna be fun.
It will be. It's. I'm so used to the shitty traveling part, but you know what I mean. Like here in the States, it's
that's
not
the job,
fun.
right? I think. Yeah. Once I sort of had a little bit of like a burst of name recognition or something, and I started getting offers for like headlines, which had never happened in my 15 years of doing comedy. I was really surprised very quickly to learn that being a comedian is just the traveling. It's the show.
Well, Anthony Jeselnik has a great line about, he goes, I consider you're paying me to travel. I do this. It's fun. I love it, but you're paying me for the shitty travel thing. And I get that. It can be brutal, the traveling aspect of it, but you have the same kind of thing in Europe, but it's like, oh, I'm going from Brussels to Cologne, to Cologne to Amsterdam, or whatever. And it's like, it makes it more, it would be the same thing as going, I have to go from Bozeman, Montana to Missoula to Fargo to, Dunkirk or whatever.
I hope weird, European, math rock bands or whatever. I hope weird musicians who come and tour in America and who've never been are having a fun time crossing Idaho. I hope it's interesting.
I imagine.
We stopped at Love's. Have you been to Love's Cafe? They have a laser pointer there. And we also bought Bluetooth gloves. I tried the dill pickle chips. Delicious Pringle. Did you have a delicious Pringle?
I did when I was a kid, but
it's so fun.
It is fun. I guess if it's your first time and you're here in this country.
Yes, I love it. It's so dirty and Christian.
It is dirty and Christian, yeah.
It's so dirty and Christian.
That's America, really.
And people are so nice and fit.
I wouldn't say fit. Where are they fit?
No, they're fat.
Oh, fat. Yeah. I thought you said fit. No, they're fat.
They're so fat.
So fat. Yeah, we're a very fat country. Sir, have you been on your travels? Been to Buc-ee's?
Bucky's, that is the squirrel.
Beaver.
The Christian squirrel who has all the nuts and jerkies.
It's a Christian beaver, but yeah.
Yes, and you buy a t-shirt that says, "This bitch runs on Jesus," and red wine. And Bucky's coffee.
This bitch runs
on the Bible and Jesus. I love you.
my God.
I love your white Jesus. He's so strong.
You have to trademark that. This bitch runs on Jesus. And put it, get a bunch, get like 20 printed up, and then just sneak them onto the
This
the
bitch
display.
runs on Jesus and Gilmore Girls reruns.
Oh, it's the gay bitch. Oh, I thought it was the guy, or it's a woman on they have the things where they're on the back of the motorcycle.
Yeah,
the
if you
t-shirts
can
where
read this.
Yeah, then the bitch fell
The
off.
bitch fell off. She's watching Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
And reading the New Testament.
This bitch runs on Jesus. Oh, I love stuff that has that makes you think what? Wait, what?
Ass, gas, grass, Christ, or Gilmore Girls. Nobody rides
would.
for free.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I desperately need to get to the clinic, but I can't pay you for. I have no money. I don't have any weed. I'm not going to whore myself out. I can give you some Bible verses.
I have black coffee, and I have a copy of The Purpose-Driven Life.
You say you learn a new language every year, but few of us actually commit to it. Babbel makes it easy for you to learn one in less time than you think. Do you plan your vacation locations based on, you say that 3 times fast, on the local language? With Babbel, language no longer has to be the barrier. This year, speak like a whole new you with Babbel, the language learning app that gets you talking. Learning a new language is the pathway to discovering new cultures. So, why not embark on learning something new? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons, handcrafted by over 200 language experts, get you to begin speaking your new language in 3 weeks or whatever pace you choose. And because conversing is the key to really understanding each other in new languages, Babbel is designed using practical, real-world conversations. Where is the poo room? You can learn that in over 40 different languages. Spending months with private teachers is the old way of learning languages, and nothing screams tourist like holding a phone translation app to your face all day. Babbel's tips and tools are inspired by the real-life stuff you actually need when communicating, like, where's the poo room? With a focus on conversation, you'll be ready to talk wherever you go. Let's get more of you talking in a new language. Babbel is gifting our listeners 60% off, 60% off subscriptions at babbel.com/senses. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/senses. Spelled BABBEL.com/senses. Babbel.com/senses. Rules and restrictions may apply.
That's the environment that I grew up in.
I was about to say
hardcore conservative Christianity, Southeast, and you grew up in something similar to that.
Yeah, very much Baptist. It was very
Did you go to Baptist church, or just everyone was Baptist around you? Because
everyone was Baptist around me. I grew up Jewish and
raised Jewish religiously,
Jewish,
right?
Yeah, and got bar mitzvah and all that shit. And but then
I bet that was really interesting in the Southeast. Well, moving on.
It wasn't fun. It was James. I was othered.
Yeah, I bet
I was othered.
Yeah,
and also I looked the part. I had wild Jufro hair.
Larry David on Fridays.
Kind of, yeah, but no balding yet.
But he didn't. Yeah, that's right. He had a little bit,
but more like it was like naturally wavy and not curly. You know what I mean? But just and we had no money, so I had like big thick glasses with tape around them because if they broke, there's no money to get new glasses. So the dorky had terrible teeth.
I had bad teeth too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, British
they're
lineage.
Still huge, but now they're
those aren't bad.
I had like really janky little kid teeth.
Oh,
it was a lot of fun. It's what I got made fun of for.
My dad had terrible comically bad teeth. They had bridge. And I just got that British DNA, so my teeth are just awful. And we were on Medicare, and I do not know this. I can't for a fact. It was just a gut reaction when I was like, I don't know, 10, 11, whenever I got braces. And I really had a strong sense that my orthodontist was anti-Semitic and just did not like me for no reason other than that's the vibe I got as a little kid.
Did he do anything that
he
suggested his bias?
I mean, he had an iron cross tattooed on his cheek.
Yeah.
No, he was
he had
like
cracker
this,
bolts on his forehead.
He just, I don't know. He just didn't care for me or my mom. And my mom was, like the nicest. And we, as I said, we looked the part, and we were in an area of the country back then where there weren't a whole lot of Jewish people. And I don't know. I can't, it's a terrible thing to accuse somebody of that, might not be the case. It was just the vibe I got. And
I think you'd know, wouldn't you? I mean, if you would know, like bone deep, you'd know.
It was but even when you're young, it's just like, and you're still processing and starting to figure out that, grown-ups and authority figures aren't all that I was told they were when I was 5, 6, 7, some of these people are dumb, shitty, mean. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, sure. I'm reading my son the Mr. Rogers books, the books that were written in 1989 by Fred Rogers, and so much of the content of it is like, you can talk to any grown-up around you because grown-ups have your best interests at heart. So you can trust a grown. If you're lost in the forest, ask the grown-up how to get back to your mom.
What are you doing lost in the forest?
Running from a pedophile who stole you from a Kmart.
Exactly. That's. They've got bigger issues.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. This is a thing I've been thinking about lately with all the flurry of Christian nationalist legislation coming out, is how much I was told as a kid that Christians are being targeted by a campaign of hate. And I'm we're literally being told this at Chick-fil-A,
not on a Sunday.
It wasn't on a Sunday. I was being told this, but it's okay, we're literally in a Christian themed chicken restaurant that is highly successful, that is jam packed with people. I don't really feel like I'm one of the nation's last Christians.
Well, it's such an obvious
huddling in a basement somewhere. As gunshots ring out.
And are your parents religious or still religious?
Still very religious, and I really respect it for my family members. I have had to do so much work to go from abject rejection and bitterness and just full on rejection of where I came from mentally to being a kind adult who tries to give everybody
that's good for
the
you.
rope to do things the way that they want to do, and I fully respect it for people who get a lot of value out of it. I think it took meeting. I think it probably for me, for my indie ass, I think it took meeting some intellectuals that talk about it in a way that doesn't just drive me fucking nuts. Mm-hmm. So I can see
Where did you have that turn? Where did that occur?
I had some great, I don't know, probably in all my writing workshops and my literary stuff in high school, college. I think I always knew I wanted to be an actor and a comedian, but when I got into the books world and stuff, and I started wanting to be a little bit more, wanting to expect more of myself than just being a person who liked Conan or whatever.
Well, that's why we got to ban books.
SNL.
There is a legit reason to ban books, so that people don't discover for themselves the hypocrisy and impracticality
of pursuing comedy as an art form.
No, of Christianity.
Of Christianity.
Yeah. American Christianity.
Oh man, it's a thing I feel really conflicted about because it is my programming. It's how I understand the world.
Yeah.
And to let go of the religious lifestyle that you were raised with is maybe the most impossible thing to try to achieve. I think for me, it's been really difficult to fully remove it.
Yeah.
At the times that I have tried to fully remove it. So now I'm trying to...
If you're cognizant of all that stuff, then perhaps you don't have to fully remove it because you're able to go to compartmentalize it, as it were.
Yeah.
This is this part of me. This is why I think this way.
Yeah.
I was... take the negative connotation away from indoctrination and just it is what it is. That's why I think these things. I can tell you that most of my family think the way they do because that's how they were brought up.
Yeah,
and those are the things they were taught to believe. And when there's good morality, good ethics involved, great. But sometimes there isn't.
Well, sometimes you see it in others, and maybe that's the part that bugs me the most, is that it's like, oh man, I have tried to leave this and tried to organize my goals and my morality in a kind of different way from what I was raised, but then you see a family member who's super Christian or something, and you realize that both of your boats are pointed in the same direction. You're like, well, I can't be mad at you because we're both just trying to be good fathers and good workers the best way we know how. What does it really matter to get in some sort of doctrinal spat, some kind of theological that's just, I think going to a Christian university where I started learning all of the nitty gritty of the theology of the... You
went to a Christian university?
I did.
Wow.
Yes. Trevecca Nazarene University. And learning...
Say it again?
Trevecca Nazarene University.
What is Trevecca?
Trevecca, I think...
Is that a place?
It's a Welsh word. I think it was the name of some Welsh theologian's estate or something like that. But so I went there. My whole family went there. My grandpa was president of it in the 70s. It's the story of my family, is that college. And so I think when I went there and I actually kind of learned what the theology was behind all this stuff I've been taught all my life, that both gave me a lot more respect for it and also made me realize what of it I didn't want to engage with anymore.
Well, I'm going to suggest a book that you may or may not be aware of, written by a theologian who got all the way up to the point, and I believe he was he graduated with honors and was on his way, through a monastery, and from what he learned in his research, the research that they gave him to do, he, over time, did a complete 180. and he has several books, and the one I'm going to recommend is Misquoting Jesus.
Yeah.
Do you know it?
No.
But he's a doctor of theology. His name is, Chris, would you look this up? Bart Ehrman, I believe. I want to get this right, because it's a fucking great, fascinating book. And it's a little bit of his story.
Yeah.
But mostly
there's some album reviews.
Yeah. He's life hacks. There's 40 life hacks in there.
There's life hacks.
Bart Ehrman.
Bart Ehrman, Misquoting Jesus.
Okay.
And it's just the history of the Bible, which is...
Yeah.
If you just know that, you're like, you would completely question literally everything.
Well, the questioning is the good thing, and it's the step of enrichment of your faith that a lot of people skip. It's like, I feel like a lot of the...
Hence the word faith.
Yeah. I mean, you need to have a critical eye on it, and you also just need to meaningfully engage with it, I think. This is sort of what I talk about, having respect for it. I definitely had my youthful bitterness toward it because of the constraints it put on my artistic goals for myself.
But does it anger you that other potentially creative, wonderful lives were either completely quashed or people commit suicide because of those values that other people have.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't that religion, it'd be something else. It'd be overwork or.
Oh, I disagree.
You think so?
I highly disagree.
Really?
You think that the people that committed suicide over generations, let's say, I don't know, let's say over the last 500 years.
Yeah.
And forget the people who were slaughtered because of their non-beliefs, because we're not talking about that. We're talking about the constrictions that, and not just Christianity, Islam and Judaism and any cults or whatever, that they restrict these things and people either because of shame or because they didn't feel like or they were ostracized or they didn't feel like they were a good enough person, or even that they were evil and killed themselves. I don't think those people would have killed themselves because work was hard. I don't think that it's a predisposition to killing yourself. It's just that it took religion to do that.
You think religion is uniquely positioned to torment people's inner lives in a way that nothing else.
I know it, not that I think
it.
I know that's
There's a lot of cases, right, to measure it against. But I mean, there is there's like the suicide forest in Japan where like people who, they have such a culture of overwork that people just walk into the forest and die. It's people just die on the job out there.
Okay, so let's remove Japanese people.
Maybe
from
I'm talking. Sure. Oh, I was just trying to give an example of like.
I know. I understand. There are other reasons people kill themselves.
Yeah, maybe capitalism is also like you could look at that as a pseudo-religious system that destroys lives.
Absolutely. I've always been. I scratch my head. It's just a crazy thing to me. Perhaps it's because I grew up poor. I know how to be poor, but the idea that during the Great Depression and in the recession, I remember this happening. Reading a number of news stories of people lost everything and they killed themselves.
Yeah,
and like what a crazy, awful reason.
Yeah,
like to kill yourself because you're not rich anymore is a strange,
shatters
sad
your world, right?
Well, okay, but move on. Like find the joy in.
Okay, so I think what you're saying is that there is that existing outside of religious system gives you a richer sort of framework of self-improvement and self-enrichment than trying to access.
I wouldn't say
religions.
Self-improvement.
Yeah.
I mean, it's potentially you could, but I think that religion, all religion, actually, the ones that I know of, can offer self-improvement. But there are rules that can restrict people in horrible, crippling ways.
Yeah.
I think you can have self-improvement through religion, sure.
Yeah, I know it really works for a lot of people. I mean, there's I think the age group that I'm in comedy, I know people who are either starting families or doing 12-step programs, or both.
And how old are you?
35.
Okay, so young. You're still young.
It doesn't feel young. I had a kidney stone last year. That felt like innocence lost in a big way. Like, okay, so now just shit stops working.
Man, I've heard awful things about that.
It was miserable.
Oh, God.
It was miserable. I had to cancel a live reading of Attack of the Clones. Ugh,
that sounds like the worst thing.
That was the worst.
Are you a sci-fi nerd?
I like Star Wars in like a fun way, not in a I'm a Nazi way.
Right. The Patton Oswalt way.
In the Patton Oswalt way. Was Patton Oswalt tweeting terrible things at Kelly Marie Tran and Rian Johnson and everybody who made The Last Jedi? Was he leading that brigade?
I don't know. I'm not on Twitter.
Seems like Star Wars is for the Nazis now. The has the worst fandom, at least of the.
But Patton makes fun of that. I mean,
Patton makes fun of that.
He's of it, but he also is
man.
Funny,
it's. I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit nerdy, but I just kind of I get really passionate about stuff for like a 10-year span, and then I seem like to to graduate to something else. I think right now I'm in a...
Well, that's healthy, at least. I mean,
I think so.
yeah.
I mean, I'll always like Star Wars. I just like goofy aliens that say...
Were you into the
gobbledygook.
Battlestar Galactica reboot?
No.
What?
Didn't really get into that.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm
just missed
serious.
it. It
Get
just missed
out.
me.
Get the fuck out of here.
All right. See you, man.
Nice to meet you. Chris, you got to screen these guests better.
Room's too small.
This room's too small to do a bit where I exit.
There's nowhere to go. It just missed me. I think I tried to watch it in college maybe and
It was great.
I
loved it.
Couldn't hook in. But there's like a sexy lady robot. That's part of it.
That's very important to the modern sci-fi canon. Yes.
You gotta have a sexy lady in there.
Sexy lady robot.
I really liked I actually really liked the Disney Star Wars evolution a lot.
I don't know. I saw the first three. I saw Star Wars and then Empire Strikes Back. But loved both of them.
Yes.
Saw... What's the last one?
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Wasn't that into that.
With the little guys.
The Furbles. Or
the Furbles were in there.
They're called the
Yub
Weewoks.
Yub Nub.
I wasn't that into that one, but... and then I haven't seen anything.
And then you didn't see the prequels with Liam Neeson and
no.
the guy who looks like the devil and Ewan McGregor.
Who's the guy who looks like the devil?
Darth Maul? Hello?
Oh, yes, I know.
Shout out
Yeah,
Darth
I know
Maul.
the figurines. I'm aware of the figurines.
Religion really did a number on Darth Maul. That guy. These Sith.
He could have been awesome.
These Sith. I mean, that's... Oh, God. I think it's like... Okay, so I come from one of those families where nobody likes aliens in anything. The kind of...
I'm sorry to interrupt. How many brothers and sisters?
I have two older brothers.
Two older brothers, mom and dad still together.
Mom and dad still together.
Okay.
Lovely people. All of them lovely people.
Your extended family, they're all around Tennessee?
Yeah, it was...
and you're what generation?
No, everybody's kind of moved away. I think my brothers are... One brother in Georgia, near where you grew up, and one brother in Maryland. Mm-hmm. And they're all... Everybody's the best. It's never been better, frankly. It's never been better, like our relationships as men.
You got nieces and nephews and that?
Bunch of nieces and nephews. I recently just got done bribing everyone to read a book. All of the nieces and nephews, everybody got promised $50 if they finished the book and Zoomed with me about
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm trying to...
What's the book?
Oh, I bought everybody a different book for Christmas. Every member of my
James,
family.
that's awesome. I love that idea. I think that's great.
Well, thank you. I'm like, I love reading, and my grandpa who just died did this to me, like tried to get me reading.
Wow,
He would
that's
always
great.
like buy me books and ask me to read them, and I wouldn't. Mm-hmm. And I maybe did it once. Mm-hmm. I did it with like Old Man in the Sea or something like that.
I love that
and
book.
talked to him about it. So I'm trying to create a love of reading with all my nieces.
That's
and
great. Good for
nephews.
you. I applaud that.
So, and I did it with all the adults too. I bought everybody a book I've read before, and I said, if you read this, then we can talk about it this year.
That's great.
Maybe you'll read this Kazuo Ishiguro, and we'll talk about it this year.
That's awesome. I hope they take you up on your offer.
Well, a couple of the kids have already done it, so I'm broke. But
What?
it's
Because you didn't expect them all to.
I don't know. It's man.
I think that's great. I applaud that, and I hope people who are listening or watching take that to heart and do the same. It's a really cool thing.
I think you just gotta. I don't know. I'm trying to just like engage with books in a different way, because I feel like for years I was just reading things and forgetting them immediately. Mm-hmm. So now I'm giving myself like little assignments. Like I just finished a Michael Chabon essays collection yesterday morning, and I made myself like write about it in a journal.
That's great.
And I went back through and flipped, and I was like, oh yeah, this part I need to write.
You know
a
who
little
else
bit
would do
about
that?
this. Who? Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus was really into the nonfiction of famous novelist Michael Chabon, right?
Yes. I mean, adjacent.
Yeah.
That's great. I'll tell you one oddly positive thing about reading and then not remembering, not retaining a lot of it is, and I'm being serious here, is you can go back and reread books you loved and 80% of it is new again.
Yeah.
Even though you kind of know where it ends and know where it goes, but as you're reading I went on this, I think I'm assuming it's because I'm older now and, getting towards the other side. And I just went on this run of rereading books that I loved, that I hadn't read in a while.
I'm kind of doing that too lately.
But I forgot, I'm telling you, 80% of these books that I know I loved.
Yeah.
And they were all great. I'm so glad I reread them.
Yeah.
And it felt almost fresh.
Is there a particular one that's jumping out where you're like, oh,
all the ones that I went on, so I read Masters of Atlantis, which I've probably read 5 times.
that's sitting on my shelf.
Here's my tattoo.
Oh, really?
That's Masters of Atlantis.
Okay.
The Third Policeman.
I got that sitting on my shelf.
What did I read after that? Independent People.
I don't know that.
Icelandic author.
Okay.
It's great.
Okay.
It's great. And Hunger by Newt Hampson, which is maybe the best of all. And those are all strong books.
I've never heard of that book.
Oh, it's great.
Is it?
It's so good.
Is it in the like abstract comical universe of the first 2 that I recognize, or is it
No, it is
something completely different?
It's the it's first person, a guy in Oslo in the turn of the 20th century. So I think it's around World War I-ish. But and he is a writer, and he just doesn't have any money, and it's just a matter of days, and he's trying to get food, and he's trying to eat, and and it's really, he becomes a little mad and insane, and he's not a good guy. He's not a shitty guy, but he's not as good as he thinks he is.
Okay.
And because he has a little bit of that kind of bitter jealousy, and I'm a writer, and I feels entitled, and it's just his, it's like a week in his life where, and it's, but it's great. It's really good.
Oh God. All right. Well, I'm going to add that to the list. I'm on a reading thing right now because between the parenting, which is an experience I've never had before, and doing comedy in such a specific and breakneck way like we do on the show, which I grew up watching SNL all the time as a kid, but there's really no way of understanding what it's like to work there until you are like
brutal.
A couple years.
It's psychologically, it's a physically grueling, and psychologically, it's
like it's a all-consuming kind of way of working that is totally unique to the art form. It's the only show that really works like that, and so I just felt my brain slipping away, because especially the first year, okay, like when I got the show, I say this a lot on podcasts, so I'm sorry if you are hearing this story too many times, listener. But my wife was like 6 months pregnant when I got the show, and we had to move in 10 days. And it all happened very rapidly. And we were like on vacation in Nashville at the time. We never went back to our apartment in LA that we had been nesting and preparing for the baby in. And so it was.
So how did that work?
I tried to be an equal parent and equal in the baby labor for my second half of my first season. So I just never slept. I would get home at 3 a.m. and then I would take over maybe like an hour or 2 of hanging out with the baby.
Yeah, and feeding. I don't know what the feeding schedule is. Like 3 months, but
and then she would wake up. I think she would go to sleep usually at 9, so I would have the 9 to 3 a.m. like responsibility, and just all night because they're waking up and going to sleep over and over.
Yeah.
And so I just went fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I was going crazy.
Sounds rough.
I don't remember a thing about the show at that time. I had a great first season for any new cast member. I mean, they had me as Biden opening up the season on my first episode. They had a tremendous amount of trust in me, and I mostly met it, I think. And I was proud of myself for that. But like as soon as the baby arrived, my brain just melted.
Yeah.
And then I spent the whole summer kind of.
Did they have any empathy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they helped us find a place to live. They helped us find a OBGYN and told us which hospitals were good. And everybody, it is a thriving community. I think the fact that I come from such a, like, when I describe it to other people, it sounds culty, but when I come from such a crazy religious environment, like everything is built around a church, I feel like the amount of how used to religious environments I am in my brain has made it very a smooth transition at SNL, because it is like, it's a high school, it's a comedy scene, it's a TV show, it feels a little bit like a religious
it
institution.
Has a de facto leader.
It's a monarchy.
Yeah.
It's a democratic republic. It's an artistic collective. It's like there's a million books about it if you want to read about it. But
say the name of the show again.
The show is Mad TV.
Okay.
Airing on Fox.
Okay.
So check it out. It's the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live.
What can I look forward to on this Mad TV of yours?
It's actually, I just remembered, it's called Saturday Night Live. It's the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live. 50 hours in the special. We're going to have a 50th anniversary special that is 50 hours long.
Wait, how does that work?
There's going to be 50 hour-long sketches. There's 50 hosts.
I love that idea.
All 50 SNL cast members will be there.
All 50.
Yeah.
I think there's more than 50.
And
a couple of them are dead.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the 50th anniversary, because it's a show I've been watching for a long time, and I actually don't know what's happening in it. I think we're making it like any I think it's going to be like kind of summoned up out of the ether the way we do the show.
Yeah.
Like the show is summoned out of the ether.
When will that occur?
It's next week.
Oh, shit.
It's next week. It's on the 16th. It's on
so by
Sunday,
the time this
actually.
goes out, it'll have happened.
Maybe. Tune in to SNL 50 on the 16th.
So why don't you address everybody in two ways. One, as if it was a complete success, and one as if it was a dismal, utter failure.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much for watching SNL 50. I mean, it was such a blast to be up there with, Shaun White, Tina Fey, Ryan Lochte, Wilco, Prince, Michael Che.
And what about that one bit?
Sammy Sosa. Oh, that one bit that killed was so good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Describe
man.
that a little bit.
That was, rapping with Snoop and Hillary Clinton was just like, I never thought I would be in such rarefied air.
Well, that's cool.
All right, and now let's do it like it was a horrible,
it was a dismal failure.
success. I think I just want to, before we keep going, I just want to apologize to the people of Midtown. It was never our intention to level 3 square blocks of mixed-use spaces. I especially want to apologize to the people of the Lego store for the atrocities that were visited upon that building in the making of that Lonely Island crossover event with Roblox.
It's a bad idea.
And that ended up being a horrible idea. And I also want to apologize to the fine folks at that Indochino. We were just trying to do a fun man on the street bit. Mm-hmm. And of course it went sideways.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's I think the takeaway from that is you should always use proper flamethrower handling technique.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't try to
Well,
build
now
one
there's
yourself.
legislation, obviously, they're trying to enact.
Yes, and I also want to thank Donald Trump for his support.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. And what about that? I know people have mixed feelings about the impression that you started the show off with.
Yeah.
And some people saying that's not a very good choice. Some people applauding you for your air quote bravery. How did that
come about?
Yeah, how'd that come about?
It was really interesting. I think, we had been in touch with the estate of James Baldwin for a number of years. And I'm a personal fan. And I ultimately concluded that this was not something that I should explore.
But you did it anyway.
Well, we did a live reading from Go Tell It on the Mountain.
And the decision to black up, I think, is the name of the term. It's an old theatrical term. What I think some people had an issue with that.
Well, it was Sarah Squirm's idea.
Well, that makes sense.
So you should take it up with her. I mean, I really wasn't in the room.
But you did it.
Anything to, I don't know. I love that whole era.
Yeah.
I love like all of the
Jim Crow. You like Jim Crow?
No, the French expat kind of, the whole thing with, Hemingway and him.
Okay.
And
I see. Where they
all those literary figures loom so large in my heart.
Sure.
And,
you're a big reader. That's yet again another reason to ban books.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have happened.
Wouldn't have happened.
And then the choice of singing "I Am Not Your Negro" was interesting.
Again, I wasn't in the room. I wasn't involved in any of these discussions.
You just do it. You put on the wig, or lack thereof, the bald cap, whatever, and off you go.
I was in a bald cap the whole night because I did Trump. I did a Trump in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I wear a bald cap for Trump.
And was Trump okay with that?
I thought he did a great job.
The real Trump.
Yeah, I thought he had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great job on the show.
Yeah. But he shot somebody.
Yeah. Well, it was sort of that, that thing, if I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue.
Yeah. No, I mean...
And so we were kind of riffing on that.
Right.
But yeah, he shot Marcelo Hernandez, and that's Marcelo's fine. He's doing great. He got him like right.
What he did
shoulder.
was he was aiming for him, shot and hit a teleprompter.
He did, yeah.
And the teleprompter, a little piece of glass just nicked his ear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that was supposed to be sort of a winky little reference too.
I got it.
You got it.
Yeah. Because that wasn't a bullet that grazed him. That was a piece of the teleprompter glass.
Yeah.
We can all admit that, right?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
We're all Americans here.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
That was a fun riff.
So
James Baldwin, what a pull.
James Baldwin.
That's a good...
Well, we wrote a sketch where it was kind of taking from that thing of when liberal parents pretend that their children are more intelligent and more emotional depth than they really do.
Oh, I want to see that.
It was cut for air, but we put it on. We put it online, so it was one of those cut for time things that we still released, which is it's fun when something earns that spot. But I wrote a sketch with Ali Levitan and Heidi Gardner, sort of based on that idea, because I'd been obsessed with that idea of I living in Fort Greene, I kind of meet It's very different from growing up in Nashville, like the parents that I grew up with versus the parents that I meet in Brooklyn.
Holy shit, it's completely different.
They're not all this way, but every once in a while you meet somebody, you hear about somebody, and you're like, well, your child never said that.
Yeah,
that was never said by your child.
Yes.
Your child.
Oh, I'm 100% with you. I mean. Yeah, I in a relative sense, I live down the street from you, and we're certainly in the same neighborhood. And
my son's 3, but I'm just now learning this world of
get ready
pretentiousness among the parents. But
I did a bit in the last special I did, Worst Daddy in the World. I do a bit about the Brooklyn chit chat, small talk with Brooklyn dads, cool dads, and it's. Like, your kid isn't special,
we wrote this sketch where we're, like the other parents are like, oh, he's our child. Oh, he loves chicka chicka boom boom. And then, me and Heidi are feeling self-conscious that our kid is not as cool as their kid. So we're like, last night he actually said he wanted to read to us. And so, his favorite book at night has been If Beale Street Could Talk. And he said, "Mommy, I don't want to just read. I want to become." So it was like this, and then at the end of the sketch,
okay, go ahead.
after it's like clear that this kid is just a piece of shit that we are covering for, and that we're terrible parents, and everyone leaves the house. We had a brilliant child actor come down the stairs with a beautiful copy of If Beale Street Could Talk, and then he says like a very prescient James Baldwin quote. Right. "Oh, Caden, that is so apt." So, the fun twist was our kid really was a beautiful genius who,
if you go to
reads great literature,
kids sections of a lot of bookstores, they do have like T-shirts and mugs and art things that have these, exceedingly precious, precocious sayings on them. So maybe a kid picked it up from
it's
a
possible.
coffee mug that mom
and
or dad had.
I fully respect this desire to expose your children to good, great stuff, because the alternative is
for sure.
Dog shit.
It's the parents that are annoying, not the kids. The kids are great. The parents are like and the fucking names, dude. The names.
Hearing the kids' names, I
Titus Andronicus and
that rocks.
and
You're ready for a return to Robert. You want to meet a kid named
Zeus and
Richard.
Persephone. I don't need. This is young Zeus and his sister Persephone.
Well, our child has a Greek name. Our baby's name is Homer, but that's a family name. My grandpa's name was Homer, and we call him Homie, so everyone calls him Homie. Yeah. And I sound like an out of date, not like like a '90s guy. I feel like when I call my son Homie, it feels a little bit like I am.
Like you're white too.
Like I should be wearing some kind of multicolored,
Kangol hat.
Some kind of I don't know, fun '90s hat.
Jamiroquai thing.
Yeah, some kind of Pauly Shore sort of get up from one of those from Son-in-Law or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you like Pauly Shore and Son-in-Law? That's a good movie. Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
I feel like that. For me, I don't think he's ever given a performance that's been less than 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. I think Son-in-Law is kind of an 8. I think
Biodome
and Encino Man, the
perfect
are beyond 10. I don't know what number comes after 10, but I would give it that number.
Can we look that up, actually?
Chris, would you look up and see 10? What number comes after 10?
Goofy movie. There's been a big reappraisal. By the way, how old are you?
60.
Okay. There's been a big reappraisal of a Goofy movie, which would have been really...
What movie?
It's a movie called A Goofy Movie. It's a Disney animated film about Goofy and his son. And it would have been right, when it released, that would have been right there for you, because you would have been 39 when that came out, probably. Right?
That's when I was seeing a lot of Disney.
You were seeing a lot of Disney Animation Studios movies at that time. Goofy movie. Good songs. Tevin Campbell.
Who?
Tevin Campbell should have been a much bigger star.
I don't know who Tevin Campbell is.
Oh, well, I
guess that's part of the problem.
You're going to have to go check that out.
Okay.
Brooklyn's really gotten to you. Fort Greene is... Really? Clinton Hill's really gotten to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, you are so in that lifestyle that you don't even know about the music of Tevin Campbell.
I guess, yeah. Would it help if I had a man bun?
I'm picturing it now, and I think it would be...
on this head?
Yeah, on that head. I think it'd be a really beautiful look for you. Mm-hmm. You'd kind of have that...
swagger.
Swaggy. It'd be a little swaggy. I imagine when you have the man bun, you've also got to have some sort of huge knit on. What
about a kilt?
A kilt, yeah. Like I see a lot of skirting happening in men's fashion. Lately.
It's comfortable.
Yeah. Big shorts. You think you might get back into big shorts?
For sure. I mean,
the kids are wearing big shorts.
Like board shorts?
Like huge shorts, like cargo shorts again.
I've never lost I have lots of cargo shorts. I find them
That
very
tracks.
practical.
What do you put in those pockets?
Oh gosh. I mean, I have usually just in case there are kids around, I'll have Sour Patch worms and gummies and Sour Patch.
Not in
kids.
a bag, loose in the pocket.
Loose in the pocket, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but I line my pocket with seal fur.
Well, of course.
So there's,
Yeah, they're nice,
sanitary, and
nice
it's warm.
humid.
It's always warm.
Yeah. Humid environment.
I have a rectal thermometer. I have
good to know.
again, this is just if kids are around, so if I'm
yeah, just fun. Fun with the kids.
I have a blow up bouncy castle.
Miniature though.
No, it's full on. They get really compact.
Oh, I didn't realize.
It's heavy. It's heavy as fuck.
Yeah, it's like 90.
But they can compact them down to like
I didn't.
the size of a bath bomb.
Fascinating.
Bath bombs. I have a lot of Bitcoin.
Yes.
And I have a, and usually just some, not jerky, but biltong, which is like South Africa.
Yeah.
Is that where my
biltong.
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 Yeah. And so, I'm good to go wherever
What do you think about
life takes
pemmican?
me.
Speaking of like old timey
Too gamey.
jerky
Too gamey
prep.
for
Okay.
me. Yeah.
You're not a big games meat person.
No. Although I've had some really good, I had venison chili that a friend made from a deer that he shot and dressed and did the whole
lovely.
thing. And it was fantastic. And smoked venison.
What if your friend was like, "You want to eat some venison from a deer I shot?" I'm like, "Yeah, tell me about how you shot this deer." Oh, he invaded my home. And
Yeah,
he
so
was,
it
and he was
was
going
a-
for my wife, and I
Stand your ground.
This is a stand your ground kind of
Yeah,
situation.
sure.
Yeah, this deer had kind of followed me home after walking my dog, and tried to
From a
sexually assault me.
distance? Or,
yeah,
oh, God.
yeah. This
that's
deer
a bummer.
was very clearly trying to assault me sexually,
And that's how you got Lyme disease.
and that's how I got Lyme disease. And
you have Lyme?
I shot him. I shot him in the face.
In the face.
Yeah, I shot the deer in the face. Yeah, Well, he's attacking me. I don't regret it.
Nor should you. And you had a delicious chili.
And he was delicious. Have you heard about this disease you can get from deer where you can't eat meat, like red meat, for the rest of your life?
No.
There's like I think it's another tick-borne disease. It's rarer. It has a fun name. I don't remember what the name is, but I remember hearing the name and being like, "Well, that's fun."
Vegetarianitis.
Vegetarianitis. You can eat birds and fish still.
Really? Oh, that's
but
wild.
you can't eat like mammals anymore for the rest of your life. Your body just like rejects it. You just immediately vomit up or something.
And that's and a deer is
get it.
herbivore, right? So they don't eat meat.
No,
That's
but it's
interesting.
it's some rare tick disease that if you eat a deer that has that disease. I just heard about this. This is like I think people mostly get it in like Scandinavia or something where they eat a lot more deer than Americans do. But this is a freaky new disease I just learned about.
My dog, I was upstate. I have a place upstate
Oh, good for
in the
you.
woods, and tons of deer all over, tons of everything.
Yeah.
But so there's deer poop all over, and my dog is a puppy. We were up there a couple weeks ago. Unbeknownst to me, ate a bunch of deer poop. Came in the house, and maybe an hour later, puked all over this rug we have, and it was one of the top five most foul smelling things, like gag reflex, like that kind of thing. Like I've smelled some awful stuff.
Yeah.
I think the worst was that made me throw up was when I was 18, I want to say 17, 18. I worked for Mrs. Winter's Fried Chicken, which is a fried chicken
I know
chain.
Mrs. Winters.
Yeah.
I miss it. The cinnamon swirl.
Yeah, so it's a fried
Fantastic.
chicken chain in the South, and probably just Southeast. But
Yes.
so I worked at the one off of the Chambly Dunwoody exit off of 285.
Okay.
And middle of the summer, Georgia summer, and I had to go take some stuff to the dumpster, big old dumpster. just sitting in the heat, you know. And I had to go. I opened it up, and there was all this rotten chicken, rotten eggs, and it was to this day. And I've been skunked.
Yes.
To this day, the worst fucking smell.
That's the worst smell you've ever had.
I've ever. And this is not up there, but it was top 5. Has replaced. I don't know what it replaced, but it was so warm deer shit. That was
that your dog ingested.
Mixed with other stuff.
Bile from a dog's stomach.
And just all over. And it was fucking foul. It was so awful. So awful. And in front of the, like a fireplace. So you got a nice
awesome. Yeah, a little crackling fire.
And just deer shit all over. Hot, chewed up. It was awful. My daughter's like, Dad, you know, like doing the kind of comically dramatic nose pinch.
Yeah.
And I'd been outside. I think I came. I was like, you know, okay, it's not that, but oh God, oh my God, oh man, it was brutal.
And this is the premise of the show, right? It
starts off with the dog, in each week.
Yes, your dog
ingests a different deer poop.
Horrible smelling deer poop. I'm racking my brain right now to think of something that I have smelled that filled me with an equal revulsion, and I
don't have a gag reflex either. I mean, I just think these 2 times, I've smelled terrible stuff before, but not that made me start to retch, you know?
Oh God. Yeah. I haven't had I don't know if I've outside of a dream. I don't think I've ever had a smell experience like that.
That's good. You never smelled death, or because that's a smell that is.
That's what I hear. I hear that the dead smell is the worst one.
It's bad.
Like,
it's really bad
when they pull a body out of the river. That's the most horrible experience you can have.
Yeah, or animals, or human, obviously, but. Something that's dead.
I feel like my brain threw that right in the trash.
Yeah.
I feel like I have had a moment like that my brain is just thrown right in the trash, the way I do with every diaper. Every diaper, I say to my wife, this is the worst smelling one I've ever smelled in my life. Even that has some sort of like pleasurable stink to it because it's like your DNA somehow. It's
what they don't tell you when is that for several years their breath stinks.
Their breath stinks.
There's nothing sweet about it. It's like nasty.
Oh yeah, because their teeth are rotting.
Yeah.
They don't brush.
Yeah, it's
the toothpaste we give them to brush their teeth with is candy itself.
Yeah, right. I still do this. I give my daughter General Tso's chicken to brush with.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it's like an orange glaze.
Yeah,
and
you ever think about that sometimes, that we're just covering chicken nuggets with candy? So there's different restaurants we go to.
Yeah. It's Panda Express.
There's restaurants like that. Even like tossed like wings places.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we really doing here? We're taking chicken nuggets and we're tossing it in candy sauce.
And beef too. There's orange beef.
You can do that
Chinese world.
You can do that with beef. I think the fact that we add spices, the fact that we add buffalo sauce doesn't, like boneless wings at a chicken place. That's chicken nuggets. Let's be honest, that's chicken nuggets.
No, chicken nuggets is like weird.
When they rip the chicken
and it's
apart
all ground up. It's like sausage.
To prove our domination of their species.
Fuck yeah. And I always go like that.
Yeah, fuck you.
Flip the bird.
When you're making pink goo in a big factory somewhere, in a stinky Tyson factory.
Oh, fuck you.
Boys.
Kick the machine.
Fuck you.
And
fuck you.
Love it, America, love it or leave it. I'll say that.
If you don't like it, leave.
To the thing, yeah. James, thank you so much for coming on here. This has been a pleasure. Cool. And
thanks for having me. It was really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I end every episode with a question from my daughter. She's 7.
Oh, cool.
And here is your question.
All right.
From my daughter.
Hello, daughter.
Why do you lose your taste when you get sick?
Why do you lose your taste when you get sick? I think and I'm going to give my best scientific answer.
Okay, you feel free to answer it
And then I'm
any
going to
way
say
you
something
choose.
kind of snide and dismissive after that.
Okay.
So my best answer, I think, is that when your nose gets plugged up when you have an upper respiratory infection and your nose gets plugged up, I think you come to realize that your nose plays just as big a part in taste as your taste buds do. And I think that, the restricted airflow and maybe, I would say that just the overall fogginess of your head that the illness is making happen just disrupts how all the body parts work together to give us pleasurable sensations. And that's what I think it is.
Okay.
I think it's more about the nose when you
Okay.
lose your taste when you get sick.
There you go.
And then the snide and dismissive answer is, well, it's because you lead a life of sin. And God is punishing you for getting sick by making you more sick.
God punishes you for getting sick?
Yeah, God's kind of going, you idiot, you got sick.
Well,
I'm going to make you sicker.
that seems...
You dolt.
That's terrible.
Well, take it up with the big man.
I
will.
will.
To help you with.
I will. That seems awful.
How, as an atheist, can you even get mad at God? Isn't that just looking in the mirror? Aren't you going, you?
Nice try. Nice try. Nice try to win that argument. How can you be atheist if you get mad at God? I'm not mad at. Well, I don't believe in God, so there's nothing to get mad at.
No,
but
let's go back into a long digression about
I'll have
organized
you on
religion.
again. We'll do a part 2.
That was a Headgum podcast.